I think my favorite thing about Ark is how he continues to think that he's living such a low-profile life, but every episode there's usually at least one point where the characters will look at something and be like, God damn, that is the most unnatural person I think I've ever seen. He must be the craziest person in this world, and our skeleton boy is completely oblivious to that fact. I love how they even kind of poke fun about how, these two, Ark and Ariane, would be okay invading a lord's castle undetected, and you didn't even need to see the smoke, but the fact that a second later, it's just an explosion. The fact that this man is such a walking menace, he is the kindest-hearted soul. The dude's an amazing person, but he really is oblivious to how, even though people don't know he's a skeleton, they know he's something, and it's gonna hit him like a truck someday, and I'm excited to see when. I'm honestly expecting at some point someone's gonna knock his helmet off in battle, not actually hurt him or anything, and Ariane's gonna look and be like, you know what? As shocking as this is, honestly, with how weird you are, I should have saw it coming sort of a thing. But this was a very interesting episode, because not only does it further Ark's kind of gamer wet dream of, being surrounded by hot elves, the fact that there's a furry-eared ninja now going to be added to the mix. This man's living the absolute dream, minus the fact that he has a skeleton skin, which is a bit of a hindrance, but hey, at least he can eat his food and stuff. But the fact that this was the first time we truly got to see him intimidated. This was him not ready to throw down, or not ready to do anything violent, but he legit was shitting his pants when Ariane introduces us to this male elf who is having none of his bullshit. He's thinking to himself, why are we trusting a human? Why are we with this big lug of a guy? What's the point of this? And at every which moment, he just ignores him. He almost acts like he's an object, like a tool that we're going to use for this mission. And I love how they didn't keep him, suspicious against Ark. It's just more so a pretty believable response, given that elves are hunted. Trusting humans is most likely a death sentence. You're probably going to either be sold off into slavery, killed, or tortured, or maybe a bit of everything else there. But the fact that, for, at least half, 3/4 of their time together, he's not going to trust the guy. But every step of the way, when he starts seeing more weird shit occur, like the fact that he can just teleport anywhere, he has this short-range, long-range teleportation, they don't have to worry about, the light from the magic and stuff like that. And the fact that just every time he looks at him, he either thinks, why the hell can he do that? Or I can see why she's trusting him. The fact that he could leave her, Ariane, with Ark by himself as he takes the children back to the village, right? The fact that he can, after one short mission, recognize from a skill level and a emotional level, he doesn't give you any red flags. So it's not just she was oblivious and naive to trust in him. It's more so, I can see why you would want someone like that by your side. And as long as you do, you're probably not going to need an army to defend you, right? Because even though she and even him himself say, had she been her sister, she probably could have done that last mission by herself. And even though she's not her sister, it doesn't mean someday she couldn't be. So we're already getting a little bit of a hint at who she is as a person, the family life, how they even subtly kind of explain how elves get their names, whether it's, their birth name, their given name. We take the middle name, which is based on one of the parents, and then the village or the tribe that you're from, sort of a thing. I like how they're not afraid to give some of the finer details, but in such a casual way that makes it feel like alongside Ark, we're learning things naturally without it feeling like an exposition, info dump or anything like that. Given the fact, though, that there is 2 elves seemingly at this lord's castle, and everything that we've seen from bandits and what they're willing to do before selling, there was that licking scene in this episode. I have a very strong opinion that there is something horribly sexual going on in that castle, and I hope Ark breaks some skulls. Whether it's happened, is going to happen, even if it hasn't happened, just the fact that they're in the slavery market to begin with, these people need to go, 100%. And if episode 1's anything to go off of, we know what Ark does to scumbags like that, right? But I am glad that this show isn't afraid to have fun as well, right? The fact that there's so many things about Ark that on paper shouldn't happen. So the fact that they are happening, I like the fact that you have the spirit that's with him, right? Ponta, right? So this is something that for him, he thought it's his pet. But everyone who sees it almost immediately stops trying to fight him. An elf who sees that a spirit animal is working alongside you immediately says that you're probably a good person. And it's enough to go from super suspicious to at the very least giving you a chance. We see with the furry-eared ninja, right? She was ready to throw down and kill. I love the fact that she throws these throwing knives and he just uses his armor and it just like goes and it's just gone. I thought that was hilarious because of just how like strong his armor is. But the fact that she immediately recognizes the error in her ways, because not only is he clearly there not to rob or pillage or things like that, he's here to probably save the elves. But the fact that he's with something that means he's a noble and just person. But the fact that they were looking for something different, it was interesting because I'm not sure if it's just because of like my natural suspicion with shows like these. I'm curious to see though if this ninja is going to be something similar to Ark, like someone who was like put into this world, or if it's just going to be like the reason she was shocked that he knew what a ninja was is because during this time period in their world, ninjas aren't a known thing. So maybe it's like something like underground that, no one knows who a ninja is unless you're a ninja, because obviously a ninja would kill anyone who knows their identity, right? So maybe that's the reason. But I am open to the possibility that something similar to Ark in terms of why it happened that way. And if so, it'd be an interesting turn of events, because then he could reveal he's a skeleton and not have fear of people not understanding why a walking, talking skeleton is something not to be feared, because if they also played a game, right? I mean, they'd understand skins and things like that, but it'll be interesting to see where they want to take it. I mean, after last week, though, Ariane was pretty much already best girl for the show, right? There's something so charming about her. She had this, like, big sister motherly instincts, but could also kick your ass without a second thought. And I love how they have fun with her character design as well. Like, when they're initially trying to go through that very small window, I thought to myself, how the hell are they going to get through? Like, my boy is literally Hulk, right? He's not going to fit through there. Hell, the Guy Elf probably won't even fit through there. But I love how they have fun with her character design as, like, she's, like, her breasts alone were probably hard enough to get through. And the fact that they're just kind of, like, turning away, trying to pretend like they're not looking at her ass. I thought that was kind of like that self-aware comedy that I'm glad that they're not oblivious to how certain characters look. But I mean, she also can kick your ass so you know that it's not all just for show, right? But it is enough to be a distraction on the battlefield that she could obviously use in her advantage. But it was great. I like the fact that they're continuing to bring up the pretty obvious things like, hey, do you not want to eat? Oh, no, I don't want to eat, because clearly he can't take his helmet off. And then he has to go, sell his bandit gear so that he could eat in an alleyway before, because obviously it's going to be a long night, and the fact that as long as he's around these people, he can't take off his armor like he's used to, which is at the end of the night, he'd go into his room, he'd eat his fill, and everything would be fine. I'm glad that, they're not pushing away the skeleton gimmick just to be a gimmick, right? It actually is a crucial point to the story, a hindrance for him being able to take his armor off, and because of that, he just always looks like a noble royal knight, and that makes him immediately suspicious. Add in the crazy magic, add in the spirit creature, add in the skills. It just don't add up, right? There's something weird about him, and I'm glad characters continue to recognize that fact. I definitely think this is one of my favorite shows of the season because it is such a simple, almost slice-of-life, carefree adventure, but it also has such maturity where it counts, and I love how Ark's kind of being roped into these different situations while thinking he's just trying to live a casual, carefree life when he's living anything of the sort, right? But thoughts if you have any. What do you hope to see maybe in next week's episode? Favorite point if you have any in this week's? Let me know down below. Leave a like if you enjoyed, subscribe if you're new around here. So next time, everyone, please take care and have a good one.